Hey everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Kayla Troup, and this is Where Are They Now for Detroit Hot Radio in conjunction with Detroit Hot Television. So on today's episode, we have an artist who has captured the hearts of many with his smooth jazz melodies and funky soulful renditions. He has completed 8 solo projects, 21 chart-topping Billboard singles, 4 Billboard hits, Pass the Groove, Fluid, The Message, Release, and numerous collaborations with some of the industry's top R&B contemporary jazz artists. Let's all welcome today Lin Rountree. So
that
good.
Boy, good. He good.
So how are you doing today, Lin?
I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. I'm happy to be here. Thank you to anybody that wants to listen to me talk, and I appreciate that. I don't take it for granted.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it's good to have you, and let's dive right in. I do want to start off by getting a little bit of your background, where you're from, schools you attended. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I was born in New York City, but didn't live there long. We were only there for 5 years or so. And then my dad, who was in the government, ended up moving us down to Washington, D.C. And that's where the extended 2 years where we had to move out to Seattle, Washington, and came back to D.C. I finished high school in Northern Virginia at Hayfield Secondary School. I did take some classes and attend a lot of seminars and things over at Duke Ellington School of Performing Arts in D.C. and a couple music programs over there. And it was privy to a lot of people who go on to be legends in this industry. But very, very rich in music because of my background with my family. Nobody particularly played the trumpet, but my great grandmother. Funny story why I picked up the trumpet is in elementary school. My dad had his mother, my grandmother, passed away when he was just a boy, but she left him a cornet that she used to play in her marching band. That cornet used to be on the mantelpiece in our house. You all back I'm kind of dating myself. I grew up in the 70s. You had that house, that little white room that your family said with the plastic on the chairs and everything. Now you can go anywhere in the house, but that room, you got to stay out of that. You can go in that room, but don't touch nothing in that room. And so that was my dad was the original Jedi master because he put that trumpet on the mantelpiece in that room. And he said, yeah, you can walk around, but don't touch that trumpet. And every day I used to walk by and that'd be burning a hole in my head. Like, ooh, I want to touch that trumpet so bad. So one day they were out of doing something. And I went in there and I just touched it. And I looked at it. I tried to play it a little bit, put it back. He had rigged it so he could tell if it was moved or not, and came home and said, now, son, you got to tell me the truth. And I said, yeah, Dad, I'm sorry. And he's like, well, that's fine. He's like, but your penance is you have to play it now. Mm-hmm. Now you got to play it. Not this one. I'm going to go get you one of them little cheap bundies and you can play it. You sign you up. So the next day he signed me up. I had to sign up for school band and I got me a little Brennel Bundy trumpet. And that was the beginning of me playing the trumpet. So I finished high school in the band and I applied to schools all over the country. And Florida A&M was one of the schools that I chose because of the marching band and because they had a great business program. And I had aspired to do both, which again, this is a theme that will follow me throughout my career to now, business and music. And I started at Florida A&M. And upon graduation, my dad gave me that trumpet and said, hey, this is yours now. Put it on your mantelpiece. And if you, when you get an opportunity, pass it down. Try to pass it to my daughter. She don't want nothing to do with it. She like, Dad, you don't try that Jedi mind stuff. I don't want you be spitting and you loud all day and I can't sleep. I'm not messing with that. So it didn't really work, but I still have the trumpet on my mantelpiece. So it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, and I went to Florida A&M University. And from there, it just continued. My music just continued to evolve and develop. And, marching in the band down there really helped me learn how to, prepare, practice, and perform. And, because you had to do all three at the same time at Florida A&M University and that marching bands back in the day when they weren't easy on the freshmen at all. And, so per se, I know we're live. We can't say much about what happened, but it wasn't easy. Put it that way. But it did teach me some lifelong lessons that I take to this day. Graduated from Florida A&M and started another progression. What'd you say now?
I said, woohoo, HBCU alum.
HBCUs, Florida now.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. Alrighty. So you answered some of the second question. What I had written down was when and how did you first get into music? So you gave us wonderful explanation of that. Just curious, can you explain to us what a cornet is? Because I'm not too familiar, and I think some of our audience probably could use a.
It's basically a more condensed trumpet. It actually is wound as tight as a trumpet in terms of the bell and at times of the tubing on the cornet, but it gives a more condensed, mellow sound. But it's played and pitched exactly like a B flat trumpet. It's just a little smaller.
Ah, that's so cool. Thank you. Learned something new today.
Yeah. A lot of the people play cornets, and they get certain sounds out of the cornet that are a little more mellow, I guess. Some cats find it easier to play, but the mainstay is pretty much the trumpet.
All righty. Thank you. In your music, who would you say, because you've lived in some like culturally rich areas, I would say, from, New York, DC, Chocolate City. Can you tell me who are some of your biggest music influences?
Man, on trumpet is certainly, there's a litany of great trumpet players. Trumpet players are at the top of the food chain in terms of jazz musicians. I mean, it starts with Louis Armstrong. Everything starts with him. I mean, but, in terms of who I really gravitated towards, and that was Miles Davis. And because I think Miles Davis, he had his foot in a lot of different genres of music. Obviously started with the best when he was in the band with Charlie Parker, the music director for Charlie Parker, Bird Parker. I mean, come on. And then he progressed and helped change and create different sounds in jazz, within jazz, and then took us into electric music. And his music and his songwriting and his philosophy in music was always thinking forward. So a lot of great people come from his bands, and he spans so many generations. I mean, you get Charlie Parker and that whole scene all the way up to Marcus Miller, who's still kicking it today, running around, and Herbie Hancock. These are all Miles Davis disciples. John Coltrane, Cannonball Adderley, who actually graduated from Florida A&M as well, and was one of the instructors down there. So, I mean, he just touched so much. And then the sound of his horn, he was less prolific in terms of being a trumpet player. A lot of trumpet players like to be muscular. They like to do a lot of acrobatic things on the horn and really, really hit the horn hard. And there's a place for that, definitely. I mean, it's dope, sweet. A lot of the guys, I love it. I love the Freddie Hubbards. I love the Lee Morgans. I love those guys, man. But Miles, he showed you the sound of the horn and the tone of the horn, the sound that you could get from that horn, which is second to none. You put that horn up against anything. All these saxophone players out here, you can't beat the sound of that horn like that. What Miles used to get. So he was an influence. Quincy Jones for his production for the same reason. And people don't know he was a trumpet player too. Played with Clifford Brown overseas and in certain bands. So, but Quincy was an influence for me. I'm a hip hop kid, and I came up at the beginning of hip hop, man. When it all got started, I was pretty much on the East Coast, DC, Frank Ski, and I used to listen to the radio. So I was right there with hip hop. And then when Neo Soul came in, I was done. That was it. That was for me. I said, man, D'Angelo came out. Erykah Badu came out. I was right there in all of that, man. And I saw the evolution of hip hop from the beginning all the way to where it is now. And so, again, I infuse all of that in my music. And so you hear a lot of that in my music. Gospel, you hear reggae. Bob Marley is one of my favorite all-time artists as well. The sound that he got, the messages that he put in his music, and nobody has ever been able to create anything that sounds like Bob Marley. Bob Marley, and it's timeless. So again, those are the type of influences that make me who I am today.
Oh my God, that's incredible. It literally covers so many different genres. Hancock to, you just mentioned Bob Marley. So I love, it's just so well versed and well rounded. It makes me want to listen to your music even more so, because it's just wow, you have all these influences, just, kind of like, it's like baking, creating this beautiful vision. So
I mean, and it's good music. I mean, good music. I mean, I listened to when Nirvana came out. I loved everything they did, man. I was mad when Kurt Cobain left us so early. And I mean, just the Metallica. I love the Metallica Black albums, my favorite albums. Tom Petty. I got a lot of influences. I mean, I can go down the list. You see a lot of stuff in my playlist, man.
Yeah, at least from my little musical background, I would think that's what makes a great artist when you're able to appreciate others' music.
Good music is good music. Terrible music is terrible music. Oh,
That's
but even terrible music is maybe good to somebody else. But but
yeah,
good music is good music to me. If I love beautiful melodies. And people think I'm the soul trumpeter. I'm funky. Yeah, I love that funk. I love to get down. But put me somewhere and I'm listening to some Steely Dan and I'm listening to something real mellow. I love a good melody, a good, nice, strong melody. I always put one of those songs on the back of all my albums. So the last song on my albums or the last few songs on my albums are usually, a lot of space, a lot of rich, deep chords and just the beauty, the melodies of the horn I like to bring out, particularly on those last songs and the albums, on my albums.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a delicious dessert that I've been waiting for. That's what it literally sounds like. So This is super exciting.
Well, I'm glad I already ate because I'd be hungry again. I'm not a small guy, but I've been in the gym lately. But shoot, man, I get hungry. I'm glad I already ate.
I hear you. Oh my gosh. Question. It sounds like I'm going to take a wild guess and say, yes, you write your own music, but I want to ask you, do you write your own music?
Yeah, I write a lot of my own music. Having 8 CDs, I mean, you're talking about, a minimum of 10 songs a CD. So you're looking at upwards 90 to 100 songs over the last few years that I've actually recorded on my stuff. And then I've written and produced for other people. And then, there are songs that I've written that haven't even made the album. So they're just all in the phone. But my last 3 or 4 albums, I started really, particularly this last album or last 2 albums, I started really collaborating a lot more because, again, when you start writing and you have a footprint, you have a fingerprint and stuff starts to sound the same to me. You know what I mean? And I want to be inspired. And so that's where the collaborations come in. And so the dynamic between me being able to write, but me also understanding that, somebody else can come in and see a song a different way and add some more value to it. And then we can meet in the middle and just get the best of both because we have that ear where producers, were songwriters. It makes the most out of the song and the music. And so that's what you'll hear a lot on my latest CDs is a lot of collaborations between a lot of great producers, from Michael Broning to Chris Big Dog Davis, my original producer who we collaborated on. He turned my first song I ever wrote in my life was Every Day. And he turned that song into a gem. Mr. Dana Davis and Billy Meadows I worked with, my very first project, in addition to all of the others. Demetrius Neighbors is a guy who just, I collaborate with who's here. So, there's a lot of great musicians and producers that Brandon Williams, great guy that I love to work with and, that are like-minded and together we create even better music and better songs.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Just curious, with all of these different views coming in and like everybody has they hear music differently. How does that work? How is the songwriting process for you when you're writing on your own as opposed to when you're writing with someone?
Well, I mean, when you first start writing and you got a blank canvas, then, everything's new to you. But like I said, after you've written so many songs, you start looking for more inspiration and I'm sitting here in my studio and I sit here for hours like, all right, what am I going to do? So sometimes you hear a melody and you put it down and you don't like it, you scrap it. But when another producer comes in, I'll call up Michael Broning and I've been about ready to make that call again. I know we just came out with a CD in June, but this is when we first start going, get a year in advance. Hey man, what you got? Let me listen to some things that you've been working on. And they may send you a track, right? You put a melody to the track, or in a lot of cases, you have a track. I've had tracks that I've produced and have had sitting in my vault for years, literally years. And I said, I can't come up with a melody that I like on this thing, man. You send it over to the other guy or send it over to Mike or send it to somebody else. And they come back with this beautiful melody that just fits everything that you never thought of. But you created the song, you wrote the song and produced the song. you just can't come up with the melody. So those are the type of things that that when we collaborate, we go through. Or sometimes I just got to the point where look, man, just produce me. Give me 2 songs and produce me, and you tell me what the melody is. You come up with the song. You tell me what the melody is. If I play something that sounds like trash, let me know. Tell me to do it again, or even just map out the melody for me, and I'll play what you've written. I mean, I'm because I've written so much and I produced so much. I'm very sound in that, knowing that I can, and then again, it's going to be my flavor when I play it, or when I replay a melody, and people understand that's done a lot. There's a lot of artists they're like, there's not much that Whitney Houston ever wrote. She was well produced and she had great melodies, and she interpreted those melodies to where the person that wrote it could never even think it would go or sound like, and it made it her song. So a lot of artists do that. But again, it's hard to produce somebody sometimes. They won't listen. I won't do it that my way. But again, I know enough to know that if I'm coming to you to get a song, and I want you to produce me, I want you to let me know good, not good, bad, terrible. You need to do this. Go here, do that. Or I like that. And so, again, that's how the process works with us. And it could start with a melody, start with a groove. We could start with my rest in peace, my bass player, Kenny Mack, used to send me all these bass grooves, man. I was like, oh, man, I love it, man. Let's put a song on this groove, something like they break out. And how many times have you heard people breaking out a sound check? Let's go. Well, I don't want to play. We don't want to play the song because there's some people that might be in the show kind of they didn't open the door. So people kind of milling around. We still got to get a sound check. Let's break a groove. We back. I was like, man, we need to record this. And that's why everybody get out there. They get out their recorders. Hey, man, record. Back in the studio a week later, we got a whole song from soundcheck.
Oh my!
What we gonna call the song? What we gonna call the song? Close the doors. It's too old, too early. So. But yeah, now that's how stuff works. And musicians, we love that type of stuff.
That sounds like heaven on earth.
We are. It's an interesting bunch of characters.
Mm-hmm. I hear you there. But that's amazing. The process is just literally you're taking nothing and creating something just immaculate, just wonderful.
Oh my God! You just said a mouthful, because for me, and when I get philosophical and I get into my little spirit realm, I'm just like, the first time I heard my music on the radio, or you get a message from somebody in Australia or China, it says, I listen to your music. You're like, little old me, I sat down here and I, dick, 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 made my little old song and, just put it out there. And somebody in China is listening to this. This is bless somebody's spirit in China, bless somebody's spirit in Australia, bless somebody's spirit in Africa. A lot of Africans reach, we love your music. Oh my God. And you never even think about that. You're like, gee, my little old, and I'm sitting down, I'm just regular Lin in my basement, eating some chicken and trying to write some songs. No, not throwing the food, right? I ate.
Yeah.
But I'm just little old me, and this person, all these people around the world are listening to my music and they're enjoying my music, and they're thinking I'm this big star, and I have to be, I'm this great person. But in yourself, I'm just Lin. But these people are being blessed by my music. That's such an overwhelmingly awesome feeling. If you can make sense of that. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. You're like, oh my God. So some musicians get scared of it because they don't know how big they are. And when they get in front of all the people and the people love them to death, they get nervous and scared because now you have to live up to who these people think you are, because you've written something that's so special to them. And music is special to people, man. Music really means a lot to people. And so again, that you just said a mouthful when you said that. Little old me making these little songs, these melodies, playing this little trumpet, blessing somebody's soul somewhere thousands of miles away is just still, I don't take that for granted.
Yeah, I think it's a gift first to be able to produce that type of music and sitting down and being a part of the writing process and coming up with those melodies, like that in and of itself is a gift. And then when you're able to kind of like touch other people with that and in parts of the world, it really, I'm just thinking about if someone were to hear my record, it would be surreal.
Surreal. It's a surreal feeling. I mean, when I hear myself on the radio, I'm like riding down the street. I'm just like that every time. And I've heard myself on the radio a lot. But I'm just like, you remember that scene and what was that scene? The Five Heartbeats, where they were in the bed and they heard the song and everybody woke up. You on the radio? You on the radio? That's how you feel every time. Every time you hear yourself on the radio, like, oh, hey, it's me. And now all my family's like, yeah, you on the radio all the time. No, I'm really on the radio. I'm gonna record this, So it's that feeling, man. It's like, I cannot believe this, man. Yeah. And I was sitting down in my little basement writing the song. And now thousands of people are hearing it. Yeah. Thinking hey, Lin Rountree, man. Man, Lin Rountree. I'm like, okay. Now I got to get an outfit. Now I got to get my hair right. I got to make sure, as you get a little bigger, walk through the airport. You can't just be all scruffly, I got to get shaved going through the airport. I went to the airport the other day. Somebody just jumped out at me, Lin. I'm like, what? Hey, I know you walking through and blah, blah, blah. Let's take a picture. I'm like, man, I'm glad I got a haircut. So it's like, it's a surreal feeling. I mean, and smooth jazz, we're not like huge superstars where, you got to walk through with an entourage and all that stuff. We're instrumentalists. People don't really see us. They don't know us. But, you'll see some of them diehard fans. They know who you are. Like, I know who you are. So again, you better be acting right. I can't be yelling and acting crazy in public. I'm like, no, I can't do that no more. I can't be barking and stepping and stuff in public. Who's that crazy Q dog day? My Q dog days are done. I see I threw that in there. Right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. I really do. Sometimes you gotta hold back just a little bit, but yeah. Alrighty, so I did just get a text, and it's a question for you, and you don't have to answer if you don't want, but are you married or do you have any kids?
I am married and I have a daughter who's 14 going on 22. She's in that, I don't know if she likes me anymore stage, you know what I mean? And she used to love me, my little special daughter, child, and now she's like, get away from me. But no, I know she loves me. So, but yeah, she's 14 and I am married, happily married to my wife, Yolanda, for now, she'll be mad at me, 18 years.
Oh, wow. That's so beautiful. Go on tour. How is it balancing that home?
It has its challenges. It definitely does. But being in the game so long, part of being able to persevere in this is just what you said, being able to manage that family, that especially the musician's lifestyle, where we're always out, we're in the public eye. There's late nights. There's a whole lot of people and stuff going on, a lot of women around and all that other stuff. And so it took a minute in the relationship for us to figure out a pattern and to try and work things out to where we were constructive together, and we understood that our eyes on this music, it's not on this other stuff that goes on, and I think my wife comes out with me on now a good portion of my shows. She didn't come to all of them, but she comes with a good portion of my shows. We support each other. She's got a foundation. She's a trained dancer, and she's got a foundation in here. It's called El Olam Cares, and it's spiritually based. And we help find resources for young people, mainly young girls, to be able to take dance and have dance in their lives, because a lot of the programs aren't in schools anymore. And she was kind of saved by a program like that in her schools, kind of evolved. And so really, I support that. She supports me, and I think through us supporting each other's endeavors and moving in that direction, it's made us and our relationship stronger. And so I think a lot of musicians have to go through that period, a lot of, particularly because my wife has been there from the very beginning, but I know there's some musicians who meet their mates on the way, and it's just a tough situation they've got to deal with, trying to understand a musician's life. Because a part of it is we put so much energy and emotion into our music that taps into the same energy source that you will be using to put into your marriage, your wife, your family. And so you kind of tap into that. So it almost feels like you're shortchanging me for the music. And that same feeling as if you weren't paying attention, or if you were off doing something else with somebody else, kind of creeps in. And so you have to kind of reconcile that as well, and learn different things to kind of balance that out. to where feeling isn't there, and then there's complete understanding on where you guys are headed, what direction you guys are headed in your relationship with the family.
Thank you for that. I know sometimes those can be touchy subjects, but I love the way you put that. I think that a lot of times in media, some of the I would say negative sides of having a family, especially in the spotlight, can wear down on a unit. But when you are able to be constructive, like you were saying, work together to find a happy medium, that rock on, because the rest of us
like I said, it's not easy, to travel and all of that, and you're always gone and this, that. It's just stuff creeps in, and you make mistakes. Nobody, I'm not perfect, and so it's a lot of reconciliation, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of soul searching that you have to do. So it's it's what a lot of people have to go through, even not just musicians. It's just and when I tell you, even young people getting married, and hey, you guys, I love you, I love you. That ain't enough. That ain't enough. Okay. We gotta put you guys a little bit. You gotta work. You gotta work. You have to actively work, and it can't be passive about it. The love is not going to get you through everything.
Yeah, ain't that the
truth? I see you looking like, ain't that? Everyone's look, we all human. So we all have our challenges. So
yes, sir. We're able to give us an update of some of the projects that you're working on. Can you give us a rundown of that?
Again, this my latest project is The Message, my 8th CD, obviously. And we just released back in June. So we did normally you want to come out with the lead single first, but we did a lead single. We just wanted to hit the beginning of the year. So we came up with the second CD in advance of the CD release. So essentially we're just still kind of on the first release now. So we're probably going to release 2 to 3 more singles, I would say. I'm talking to my label. Hey man, you got some hits on there. You need to keep releasing that. Shout out to Troup and the Rhythm Records, who I've been with these last 5 CDs. One of the best, one of the top smooth jazz labels out there, contemporary jazz labels out there. And I'm just blessed to be a part of it. And they give me the support and the freedom to create and the resources to do so as well. So shout out to Jeff Lunt and Les Cutmore for having me, welcoming me into the family, Troup and the Rhythm Records family. But yeah, I'm always working on projects. I have collaborated with over 100 different artists. I've recorded with over 100 different artists, published work. And so I'm proud to say that most of it's great, great music. And so I'm always in the process of collaborating with somebody. Shout out to Adrian Crutchfield. He's the next guy up in the studio. I'll put his song up in the studio. We're about to collaborate on a tune. I just did the Dave Coz cruise this past May. And there was a lot of great conversations with other musicians. The greatest part of the being on the cruise, being captured for 3 weeks with other musicians, is that, you talk about things like collaboration. So, certainly we've got a lot of stuff coming out of those collaborations with some of the cats. I'm working on setting up some tours, some combo tours with different artists. I'm working with obviously Marcus Anderson and Julian Vaughn. Bassist Julian Vaughn, Marcus Anderson, great saxophone player. We teamed up to do some things, collaborating with Nicholas Cole and my man, Mr. Nathan Mitchell, who's really on fire now. You probably should get him on next. Nathan, man, he and I go way back, but now he's coming into his own with his solo stuff, man. He's really doing well. So we're collaborating. So again, this collaboration is about, and then, with Cat Eddie Stokes, man, a great producer out of Atlanta who just hit #1 with a song that he wrote and produced for Algebra, and then she's on my latest project, and then we have a single out together that came out. It's called All My Black. It's kind of a song that was born out of the George Floyd protests 2020 and all of the frustrations that we as African Americans had with the criminal justice system. So we created that song and we collaborated on that first. And then I was blessed enough to have her and Eddie Stokes and the Machine on my James Dane and on my latest album. So yeah, there's some future collaborations with them. So yeah, we're always working. I'm always moving forward, always writing song. I got my little quarter. Hey man, I love that melody. I'm gonna put that down, get it in the studio, get the juices going again. So
awesome. Oh my gosh, that sounds like super busy but super fun all at the same time.
Yeah. It takes so for us, like I get locked back into the studio. It's like when you make a CD, you're like, whew, I'm done, because I sit down here for hours and hours and hours and hours in this chair right here with this microphone, this screen, staring and putting songs together. And I'm up till 4 a.m. trying to get stuff right and, mix, doing all the production and all of that. And so you just kind of get burnt out after the CD and you're like, geez, man, now I can woosah. But then it takes a minute and you get back into it. You're like, okay, because when you get locked in, you're going to get boom. Locked in. So I got something to record this weekend, and I know it's probably going to take me a minute. I'll sit on the couch, watch a game, and I'll look over here at the studio, and I'll watch the game some more and look at the studio. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me get on up at 12 o'clock at night when everything's quiet and start working on the track. And then I get all hyped up, and that turnaround is 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, geez. So that's how it goes.
All right. Well, speaking of collaboration and new music, we're going to play for our audience now and for our own ears the Message featuring Gary Johnson.
Yeah, there you go. Title track to the latest CD.
Alrighty. So that was, again, The Message by Gary Johnson. Can you tell us a little bit about the brainstorming process for that song?
Well, that is interesting you asked. So the message is one of the things that having 8 CDs, being blessed to be, in this industry for 8 CDs, a lot of people give up early, is being able to remake your own songs. And so that song was a song from the first album, which was actually a vocal tune featuring Miss Leslie Nelson. It was such a great song. I mean, so I got the inspiration because I was scrolling Facebook, was in the process of putting my album together, trying to figure out what I'm going to do now, what I'm going to do different. And I came across the Steppers. I got tagged in a Steppers, some Chicago Steppers video. I'm like, well, why am I tagged in the video? And I didn't even look at it, listen to it. I just looked at it. You know how you looking through, scroll, you're driving or something. You're not supposed to be scrolling while you're driving. But then I got home. I was like, let me see what this is about. And I listened to it. They were playing the message. And it happened to be from like 2 years before. And I'm like, 2 years ago? And somebody's just tagging me in this? Well, I went back. It had thousands of comments on it. Like, man, we love it. But then the comments started, what song is that? Whose song is that? And people are like, I don't know, it was just, I have no idea. And then finally, 2 years later, somebody tags me and said, this is Lin Rountree. I got this CD. And people are like, oh my God, thank you. We love this song. And so it just reminded me how great of a song that was. One, two, because it was my first CD, it didn't get the exposure that it could have gotten, had it come out now where I have some credibility in the name and presence. But again, that song it was a great song, and Steppers DJs know it, but no one really knows who it is. They probably had copied it. It was probably on somebody's, disc somewhere with no name, just Steppers on it. So, you know what I mean? And so I said, well, let me do it justice. 1, 2, coming out of COVID and now everything's out. I feel everything, we're back out and we're blessed. Those of us who are still here to be here. I felt like now it was important. And so I got a message for people. After 7 albums in this business, I'm gonna give them. This is a message, and every song on is named after some sort of key point that I want people to come away with, or feeling that I want people to come away with from this album. So I said, this is the appropriate time. This is fortuitous because I'm trying to figure out what to name this CD. Let's just do a remake of the message and call the whole CD the message, and it was a done deal. As soon as I said that. To me, it was okay. Now we're working on the message project, and my boy Demetrius Neighbors, great producer, great individual artist as well. I mean, solo artist as well, pianist extraordinaire. He's also my MD. He's written hits for Kim and has produced a lot of people. But we were finally able to collaborate on this again. Because he was supposed to collaborate on the first album that he never made it on, and I keep saying, hey man, let's collaborate. 8 albums later. Finally, I got him. So I got him to reproduce this song and a couple other tunes that he did for the album. All are great. But then I got Gary Johnson, who's a guitar player who plays in my band. He's so understated. He won't talk, sometimes he'll laugh every now and then. But he shows up on time. He plays, but you would never know. He sounds like Van Halen on stage. You know what I mean? But then you talk to him, you can't get him to say 2 or 3 words. He'll smile at you and this. So I said, let me give him some shine, man, because he just killed the guitar solo on this song. That's what he does live. So I said, hey man, I'm gonna put you in lights, man. You probably not gonna like it. Nah, man, man. I'm gonna put you in lights. So it's featuring Gary Johnson on guitar, and that's how that came together. It's a remake of my own tune, so it's a cover tune, really. But so to be able to make a cover tune of your own first tune in and of itself was a blessing.
Awesome.
And we recorded, we did it. We did the track. We really kind of did it live. I kind of did a dummy melody down, but they were live in the studio and they recorded that thing live. We just kind of refined it a little bit, but that's how you hear it can't come out, live.
It's beautiful. I was over here. I was just like, okay, I could listen to this while I'm doing my homework, anything.
But so now you imagine that on stage with 1 million speakers and us in some concert. So that's the next song that's going into the set because obviously we got to only have 70 minutes or 90 minutes or 60 minutes to do a show, and I got so many songs I got to figure out how to put the songs together. But that song is definitely going into the set.
Nice. Well, it's definitely a keeper over here. So
thank you.
All righty. So speaking of pandemic music, we will listen to The Fluid as well, because I know that's one of your other ones. Okay, so
well, fluid.
yes, that is so, I love that. Like it just really just lifts your spirit and just gets you like, I was tapping my foot immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's just what you said, because when it was smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. We were in the basement. No, it was, and I like to tell this in concert is like, we were all miserable. Everyone was miserable, and there was no toilet paper.
Oh,
I mean, there was no toilet paper.
Oh,
really? No toilet paper? Had everything that could, everything, anything. Why? We were already miserable, but there's no toilet paper. What is that? What was that about? That was the strangest thing.
They did y'all dirty. They did y'all dirty.
No toilet paper, man. So in any case, but after we got some toilet paper back, it wasn't charming. We started getting that little scratchy stuff, but it was at least some toilet paper.
I'm telling you.
Once we got that straightened out, then we started writing music again. You know what I mean? We said we started writing music again. So we came up with this. Michael, again, I collaborated with Michael Broning on this tune. It's one of those tunes that, he said, hey man, I've worked with you. He had worked with me on a couple of tunes before that on Stronger Still. And he said, man, I haven't been inspired, but something hit me and I've gotten inspired and I thought of you. And I just got in the studio, started writing, man. I believe you're going to love this track. I was like, hey man, send it to me. And of course, my Jeff Lunt from the label, he hears it first. And he says, hey man, I got this song for you, man. I was like, man, let me hear it. Of course, they waited a day to send it to me. So I'm all, I'm watching Marvel movies because that's all you could do during the pandemic is watch Disney, watch all the Star stuff over again. So they sent it to me the next day. I heard it. I was like, oh my God, that's because they knew it was. By then, Michael had known my vibe and my style, and because I had articulated I like this. I'm an R&B guy. I like this. And, it just hit me hard. And we put the melody together and played through it. And we didn't know what was going to happen because we made this and no one knew what was going on in the record industry. Should we put an album out? Should we just put something out? What, blah, blah, blah. We didn't know what was going on. We said, you know what? Let's just put this song out.
Yeah.
Let's, because it feels good. Like you just said, it's a feel good song and people just need something to feel good. And they're getting back out now. They're starting to creep back out, have these little backyard parties and all this other stuff. And, some people wouldn't run around no mask on, did super spreader events. But we look just in your backyard and cook out and put some meat on the grill, and put this song on, man. And it just makes you feel good. And this became my second number one on the national Billboard charts. And it stayed actually on the charts 27 weeks. And it ended up being the number 2 most streamed contemporary jazz song of 2020. And so it was it just blew my mind, the reception that I got from the song. And so we decided to name the whole song Fluid. The CD Fluid. It was like, we're going to name the whole CD Fluid. And so we didn't release the album until about 6 or 7 months afterwards, but that song set the tone for the album. We're gonna make this. That's what we feel. We're gonna do that. We feel like that. And then so the second song we released was called Release, and that went to number 1 too. So off of this album, with some great songs on the album, man. I wish we could have released a couple other songs off the album, but we were forward thinking and going to move on to another CD. So.
Well, yeah, that's sexy. That's something to get the candles lit. Us get the cuddle rug. Not too much.
Don't put your head like
okay,
that.
Come on. All right. So
and hold on. Shout out to my man Mel Brown and Freddie Fox. Freddie Fox played the guitar on that tune, and Mel Brown played the bass. Mel Brown out of Arizona. Both these guys, man. Mel Brown is crazy on the bass, man. He just knows what to play, how to play it. He just knows the vibe and the feel. And then by the time he puts his taste and flavor on it, you get Freddie in there, and Freddie brings it back to the street. He's like, oh no, y'all got a little prissy over here with these tunes. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna get some street in it. We live stream, so I can't say what I want to say, but yeah, he was like, you know what that means. So yeah, like the way that when you get them two on there, man, it's gonna be a hit. All I got to do is float over the metal melodies and not mess up. So
it was perfect. That is on my playlist. I'm keeping that. It is good. It is great. Now, I do want to know if you have any upcoming shows for us. Got all this good music. We want to see you in person.
Oh, yeah. You can go to everybody listening, go to my website, linrountreemusic.com, and go to my tour schedule. Shows is the tab. We got some great stuff still coming up. We'll be doing Jazz Legacy down in Hampton, Virginia in second week in November. That second whole weekend in November. And then I'll be playing the Florida Smooth Jazz Weekend the first week in November down in Daytona. And got a couple more good shows coming up. But next year starting to fill up as well. We're gonna be out west, gonna be down south, I'm gonna be everywhere. So just stay tuned stay attached to my schedule. And just make sure you sign up for my newsletter. You go on linroutreemusic.com. And I'll send out a regular newsletter to give you updates as to what I'm doing, what I'm releasing, what I'm working on, and where I'll be.
All right. Lin Rountree Music, right?
Lin Rountree Music, Lin Rountree with no D, music.com.
All right, y'all. You heard it. I got it. Let's put it on our calendars. For our last question, I want to ask you, for those who are working on this music stuff, it's not hitting like we feel it should be, or someone who just loves to sing or produce for other people, what is some good advice that you have for up and coming artists?
Perseverance. That's the first one. This is not, I know you get a lot of American Idols and you see these one-hit wonders and all that. Everybody wants to make it fast. TikTok sensation, blah, blah, blah. If you want to do anything in this music, the first thing you have to understand is that this is the long game. You got a person, and you're gonna hit a lot more pitfalls than you are successes and wins. So you have to understand that this doesn't come quick. Few and far between it comes quick for. And the quicker it comes, the quicker it goes. We like to say in the music business, here today, gone today. Next day, I'm on to the next flavor of the month. But those musicians who last have weathered the storms and that they've persevered. So that's the first thing. Second, if you're a producer or a musician, just listen and appreciate music. Some people go into music. I can't tell you how many musicians I know that when I told you my body of the volume of music that I listen to and enjoy and appreciate, some musicians don't. They just kind of, I play this and that's it. And then they're not as versed or as well listened. And again, I'm not here to tell anybody what to listen to or who to listen to, but you should be an aficionado of music if you're going to be a musician. So make sure you listen. If you're getting into an industry, a genre, listen, man, listen to see how that, feel it, get it in your bones, a lot of musicians don't listen. They learn how to play the music and they just play, and they try to make a song and then they wonder why nobody's paying attention or listens because you haven't been listening. You don't appreciate the music, but now you're upset that people don't appreciate your music, and it shows. Music is emotional. It will show and it'll expose itself. Some people won't tell you they don't like it, but they're not dead, but they don't know why they like it. They like you. You've put yourself into the music. So make sure yourself is together. So that's those, and then practice. A lot of musicians, sometimes they stop practicing, they stop working on their craft, their art. They think they've made it. Well, again, there's somebody, sitting on the corner that's looked like, like a bench player talking about, put me in, coach, he messing up, put me in, I got it. And they'll come in and they'll take your job. So there's always somebody that's better than you sitting around. And then the last thing to that is, again, you're not going to be somebody else. So listen to, appreciate everybody else. Don't get down on yourself if you can't do what certain people do, or you're not that type of person. You're in competition with yourself. You have to be the best version of yourself. That's the only thing you need to be concerned with. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're not where you need to be, is going to show. But nobody can be you. When I made that decision, I can't be this trumpet player over here. I can't be that producer over there. I can't be this musician. I can't be, even though I want to, man, they're so great. I want to do everything they do. When I made that decision to be the best Lin Rountree and make the best Lin Rountree music I can make, is when I started to turn a corner. I'm still work in progress, always going to be a work in progress, but you got to be the best version of you. you're competing with who you were. That's who you're competing with. And you got to keep on moving. And every day you were something. So you got to keep on competing with who you are, getting better. And the best version of you, everybody's got their own footprint. You're going to be different because of your footprint, because of your fingerprint. You're different, and your music's going to be different if you work on being the best version of you.
Wow. I think that was like right there. And I'm going to take that with me. And I hope the audience does too. A lot of people get stuck up. That's the hang up. Like, oh, well, you got this person, that's what. Shut everybody else out. Just shut everybody else out and focus on what you got to do, and you will be successful. So thank you.
So I like a lot of musicians. Some musicians I see out here making music for other musicians. Well, I want to sound sweet. I'm going to do this because this is going, everybody going to be, ooh, look how fast he played that. Ooh, look what he did. Ooh. And them same musicians don't buy nothing. Mm-hmm. They in fact, they listening to you to try and steal your chops and steal your licks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're not going to the store buying nothing. They ain't downloading nothing. They trying to steal something off of the YouTube and you get a lick, but they're not spreading your neck. They're not doing anything but saying, woo, he's sweet. He's sweet. Cater to your fans, the people that love you. You know what I mean? I realize everybody wants to say, I want to do this and I want to be able to, because I want these musicians to be like, woo. You want your fans to be, woo. You want your fans to feel your music. So you make music for them. And if you don't have any fans and don't care about the fans, make music for you. But again, you don't make music for other musicians.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, I do want to thank you so much. It's so many gems were thrown our way today. So I want to thank you for your time and for your words and being a guest on our show today. And I want to thank all of the audience here for tuning in on Where Are They Now? And just so you know that we are in conjunction with Detroit Hot Radio Television.
Thank you, Kayla. Appreciate it. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. We love you guys.
Bid you a wonderful evening, and I'll hopefully see you next week. Thank you, guys.